Hello, everybody, and welcome to the very first ever installment of the DSBM review channel. And why not start with somebody like Xasthur? I'm wearing the merch today, okay? We're covering A Gate Through Bloodstained Mirrors. I figured this would be a good first album to cover. I got the Ghost Bath flag in the background, alright? Um, yeah, and I released my own music, but I'm not going to be sharing that on this channel until I'm a little bit more comfortable with it. So, anyway, let's get right into it. So, like I said, today we are covering A Gate Through Bloodstained Mirrors by Xasthur, which was released in 2001 as a demo under Profane Productions. Okay, all this info is publicly available. Like, this isn't some secret, like, scoop I have or anything. I get a lot of my info off Metal Archives and, of course, Wikipedia, but we don't talk about that. But anyway, yeah, so, and also, I mean, you can find out a lot of info on Xasthur and Leviathan by literally just watching, like, the Noisy interview that was done with the one-man metal, which was Xasthur, Leviathan, and Streborg, sorry, whoops. Yeah, so, I guess kind of the way that these reviews are going to work is that we're going to start with info, just kind of like general info on the album itself, and then we'll move into kind of how it made me feel. Like, that sounds weird, but like kind of the general feel of the album, the overall like presence of the album, how it affects me when I'm listening to it, all that type of stuff. We'll do like a little fun fact in there somewhere, and then we'll kind of do a comparison to the rest of the genre. That is kind of subject to change right now, so we'll figure it out along the way, you know what I mean? So, like I said, this is the first ever installment of this epic, epic new series, I guess. So, yeah. And one thing I found really cool about this album, this is kind of the fun fact. So, I was listening to Xasthur's the 1997 to 1999, the Rehearsals album, which I have a physical copy of, like an LP of it. But the what I thought was really really cool is that in a lot of those songs and a lot of those like rehearsals, like the untitled ones, you can hear a lot of the like A Gate Through Bloodstained Mirrors, and I thought that was really cool. But yeah, all right, and yeah, I have like a whole like sheet of notes I wrote down for this, but yeah. And also, so since 2004, there's been a bunch of new releases. Like we saw in 2021, there was the Green Marble pressing where they pressed like the vinyls were green marble. They were super cool. I was gonna buy one on eBay for like this very first video, but it was $100, and I was like, I can't. I don't know if I want to do that right now because I was trying to save up for some other Leviathan cassette stuff, but that was like $200 and it sold, and then the Xasthur one sold. So, you know, stuff happens though. But yeah, I thought this album though. We'll move on to feel now. Basically, I don't know how long these videos are all gonna be, but I I don't know. But anyway, um, yeah. So the very first time I ever heard this song, I was sitting at my work, and I don't exactly know how it happened because I started listening to Gojira like 2 years ago, and as with most metalheads, you'll dabble in black metal a little bit, but you won't like you know you won't always be like right there right away. So I listened to Ghost Bath. Okay, that was the very first black metal band, um, kind of newer black metal band that I ever got into. But I was sitting at work and like it popped on. Suicide and Dark Serenity um, popped up on like some playlist I was listening to at my work, and at the time the place where I was working, like no customers came in past 7 p.m. but I had to stay till 10. And so I sat down, and it was like winter too, so I was looking outside while the song was playing, and it was like, I will say that this album, if you listen to it during the winter time, is crispy, bro. Especially if you're sitting outside, it's very nice. But yeah, I would also say that this album feels extremely claustrophobic, but like empty at the same time, if that makes sense. So like, it's hard to describe, but because of the wall of guitar noise that Xasthur is able to produce, like it creates a very like urgent, like intense feeling. But also because of that, if you tune in like so intensely, you might not really feel claustrophobic anymore. Like you'll kind of feel like part of the song, if that makes sense. You'll kind of be into a trance sort of thing, you know? So I thought this was just, it's a very unique album. It's very distinguishable from any other album in its genre, in my opinion. Um, I mean, I can't say any other genre or any other album because I know Leviathan as well. You know, got some top-notch stuff. We're not, by the way, I just want to make this very clear. We're not only going to be covering like Xasthur and Leviathan. They're just the two that I can pinpoint very easily. That people will most likely understand who I'm talking about in this genre. Because if I start talking about people like Decalius or like I don't have any other ones off the top of my head, but there's a lot of people. Like I have this. I won't pull it up right now, but I have this playlist on Spotify that has people who only have like 200 or 300 listeners, which isn't like, I'm not saying that's like a bad thing at all, but like it's super cool because we're going to be covering a lot of those people too. Like it's not just going to be Xasthur, not Leviathan, like Mayhem, all that stuff. Okay, I'm not going to talk about Mayhem right now, but I'm not very into them. But anyway, yeah, so, oh yeah, and so I just wanted to say also in terms of feel, kind of to like wrap up that idea of like the feel of the album, um, this album made me feel a lot more like, it made me ponder a lot more than any other Xasthur, like, you know, anything else in his discography. Like it was a lot more, like I'm sitting here thinking while listening to it, like, and I listen to it a lot at work because my job is pretty brainless, and like I love my job and everything. Um, but it's pretty brainless, you know what I mean? Like I walk around pulling orders for people, and essentially it gives me a lot of time to think when I'm listening to this album. And I've listened to this album like an uncountable amount of times because I've been listening to it for about a year straight. Not like every day, but pretty close to every day actually. If we hold on, if we go over here to the Spotistats app, not sponsored by the way, it's called Stats FM now. But if we go here, I'll bet that within we'll look up lifetime top played tracks. It is literally my number 2, Suicide and Dark Serenity. Yeah. So sorry, it's not gonna focus, but using that Razor Kaio ring light, let's go. Yeah, literally my number 2 played. I'm trying to see if there's like a, oh yeah, stats. Can I pull that up? Oh yeah. So it says number 2 of your most streamed tracks in your lifetime on Spotify. So yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. It's such a good album to just like get your thoughts to process through. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's just an amazing album, and like, uh, oh yeah, one thing I really wanted to bring up also about the feel is the feel of how raw the album is absolutely like unmatched. Okay, because there are times where you hear parts of guitar just like seemingly randomly cut out, or you can actually hear like Shot Connor's fingers like pressing on the strings before certain parts. Like I think in Suicide and Dark Serenity, I think one note that I wanted to write down was like, it was a timestamp 622 on Suicide and Dark Serenity, but I can't quite remember if that was the right timestamp. But yeah, if you like really listen closely, like if you're sitting there, you know, intently listening, sitting down, it is the coolest thing ever. And that's actually what 100% inspired me to start making my own music, because I stopped listening to, not stopped, but I stopped, I said the same thing, stopped listening to a lot of like Gojira and like Lorna Shore, Shadow of Intent, stuff like that. I kind of started waning off of them and getting into albums and creators who were, I don't want to call the other bands like perfectionists, but their music sounds so good that it's like hard to want to create your own music, because you're looking up to all these people who have like insanely like just perfect music and it's perfectly mixed and mastered, versus like with black metal, that's part of the style, is to leave it like raw like that, and just to have it be like very kind of raw, I guess. Yeah, I don't have any other better explanation of that, but yeah. So I mean, that pretty much covers feel. But yeah, one of the comparison to the overall genre, and like I would definitely consider it to be like DSBM, but as far as, I don't know, it's really hard to compare it to the whole genre of DSBM, because when you start looking in places where, maybe I could raise this up a little bit. My standing desk is completely raised as high as it can go. The ceiling's right here. So, but anyway, yeah, so it's really hard to compare, because it's like you have other albums that are like not not necessarily similar, but they have the same sort of feel to them. But I mean, I would say that it's definitely one of the most like influential albums released in the last 2 decades for metal at all. And even in the noisy interview that they did with Xasthur and Leviathan and Streborg, he literally, like, the interviewer said that Xasthur had been earned attention that was even out of like the black metal scope. Like there was people, there's a magazine I think that had a picture of him that said Hollywood on it. So, I don't know the magazine or anything like that, but like just how influential that is absolutely crazy. And it's cool because like anytime you go to a local black metal show, people probably know who Xasthur is. You know what I mean? And when you talk about Xasthur, 9 times out of 10, it is literally this album. So, which is why I chose to cover it first, because in my opinion, it is easily the most like influential black metal album in the early 2000s. So, and I personally think that it really assisted in creating like the necro acid like noise that we know, which is kind of like that, like the wall of guitar noise that Xasthur creates, which is super cool and unique. And other people such as Leviathan and Kalman Kantaja, how do you say that? Kalman Kantaja. I don't know how you say it. I think it's like, it's some European name. I don't know. But they use that like really cool kind of ambient atmospheric like guitar noise. Leviathan doesn't as much in like his newer stuff, which is fine, you know. But yeah. So I think overall, I would have to give this album like an A minus. Okay, this is how we're gonna do this stuff. We're gonna rate it on a scale of like grades, because I feel like that's the most universal way to do it. I could give like numbers, but I don't want to do like, oh dude, it's like a 98.7. Yeah, okay, not gonna happen. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe this was the first episode, so I hope everybody enjoyed. I don't know if I should keep doing these types of things when I sit here and talk, but I have another YouTube channel that I kind of got bored with because I was just uploading like random little clips of like Rust and stuff like that. But I don't game a whole lot anymore. I mean, I still do from time to time, but I'm really focused on music now, creating my own stuff, doing all that. But yeah, I don't know if you guys have any comments on who you guys want me to review and things like that. And if you've made it this far, I really appreciate it. So, but yeah, like I said, if you have any comments on who you guys want me to review, I found a bunch of cool new, cool like smaller DSBM bands on YouTube last night. So that all have like under 2,000-ish views on their videos and on their Spotify and stuff like that. So I'm really excited to continue this on. I just figured this would be a first fun little, like, boom, get it out there. So anyway, thank you guys all so much for watching, and I hope to see you all later.